So for us, I mean, our philosophy is you use content to build an audience of people, to build trust, and ultimately, you as a media business should and can own your own biggest advertiser. And so from a business perspective at a really high level, the idea is how do you not be in the business of just renting your audience to advertisers? If you truly own trust and you truly have a great relationship with your advertiser, put your money where your mouth is and monetize them directly. And I think, you know, we all know the sort of challenges with that the digital advertising, like that exist in digital advertising. It's really fucking hard. I mean, like, kill me. And what we've decided to do, and what I think a ton of media businesses are going to need to figure out how to do, is to monetize the user directly. And so for us, we built what essentially is our own biggest advertiser. We went and figured out what we thought, where we thought our guys were spending money, what we thought an interesting other digital business to be in was, which is you know, a men's style destination that sells clothing and accessories, and we've built that internally. And so things like remnant advertising don't exist for us. We don't sell any of our advertising programmatically. There's no back door. There's no way to come in and sort of sneak in as an advertiser. You do really interesting, innovative, premium, sort of brand first stuff with us. And if we don't sell any advertising inventory, we use it to build our own commerce business.
Well, in a way, it's kind of like the television networks. Yeah, right.
Well, so absolutely, you need multiple forms of monetization. As a media company online, there's subscription, there's commerce, and there's advertising. And I think one of them alone is not going to get you there. And for us, and so many people, you know, take the path of, let's go and do affiliate. Let's go and dip our toe in and sort of start to play around the edges of what commerce looks like. And that is a totally disingenuous and frankly, like, that's just a pathetic attempt. Like, going and dipping your toe in, like, you get out of anything in life what you put into it. And if you go and you don't get good at merchandising, and you don't figure out customer service, and you don't understand fulfillment, and you don't actually get good at all the component pieces of a retail business, you're never going to build anything of any substance, and it's going to be some afterthought, some, you know, 6th or 7th biggest revenue line item that ultimately just distracts you and doesn't actually drive any value for your users. Okay,
but this raises a whole bunch of what I would think would be very practical questions. So I would love to kind of go through them with you. One is it puts you in competition with a bunch of companies that would be your natural advertisers. You're in the men's fashion business. Well, you know, doesn't this piss off Ralph Lauren or Calvin Klein, or, you know, go down the list, or Theory or Vince or...
Great question. Yeah. And so I think the reason that the answer is no is about data. And so the idea that we understand our audience, and in the case of fashion, how they buy fashion, what colors they like, what SKUs they like, what price points they're buying at, how often they buy. We have so much interesting retail data that other advertisers, that other media companies don't have, down to their credit card number. Now, we're not using that on a personally identifiable basis, but we have a lot of insights about how guys shop. And so as another brand who wants to reach millennial guys and wants to sell clothing to them, we really know how to sell clothing to millennial guys, and we are a very, very valuable partner, whether or not we sell your product directly. And so there's some brands that are advertisers whose products we sell. There's other brands that advertise whose products we don't sell, and they just want us to use the best practices that we have around creating what we call purposeful content. So when you create a piece of content, there has to be a reason behind it, and we sort of think about it like it goes up the funnel, and the purpose of creating that content is to create sharing and to create a conversation and ultimately to generate audience, or down the funnel, which is this content is about creating intent. It's about giving someone information that they can use, and in many cases that actually influences them to buy.
Well, what's interesting, I mean, among many other things here, it's that kind of now not so newfangled word co-opetition. In effect, you're a co-opetitor with a number of your advertisers. You're using your retail experience to gain more data, more understanding on your consumers, that then becomes an advantage that you can bring to others in the same category.
Well, absolutely.
Which wouldn't happen. Calvin Klein wouldn't talk to Ralph Lauren, but Calvin Klein can talk to you, and Ralph Lauren can talk to you, even though you're competing with both of them.
And we don't want, at the end of the day, you know, like, we like programmatic, and we like how small the world is today, and how scale is now something that sort of anyone can access through Facebook and through through buying offsite and through retargeting, what we can actually do is take the data about and retarget our guys, or go and build interesting sort of user pools and take content that we create with a Ralph Lauren or a Calvin Klein and push that out more broadly. So they're not just doing it on our platform, but they're buying out in, like, on the social web.
Now, but another piece of complexity, I would think, would come on the retail side of the business. There are all these big retailers out there, big retailers, yep, with big names. How do you compete? You're going to be a small retailer. How do you bring in that kind of competency on a scalable level to compete with, Land's End? Name any.
Land's End. That's the example. No. So, come on, man.
All right. It just was leaping to mind.
Okay. So that's a good question. So there's a few answers.
I just think big catalog business.
Well, one is we want to build not just a small retail business, but a very big retail business. And today, our direct transactions with our users account for about 75% of our revenue. So we've already been able to scale the relationship and actually monetize it directly with some success. I think the way that we sort of think about achieving that is, one, we actually have to be really good at it. So, we recently brought in a guy who had been at Gap and Levi's for 15 years to be the president of our commerce business. We've built like a great team of merchants, a serious team of people in fulfillment and data and analytics, and like we've actually had to invest into doing it. So part of it is you have to be as good as them. The other part is, as an upstart media business 8 or 9 years ago, you could have asked the same thing, which is, how are you going to go compete with all these amazing, with GQ and all these amazing businesses? Well, we're more nimble, we're digital natives, we're hungrier. The same reason that sort of startups disrupt. I think what we've been able to do on the media side, and what a lot of folks have been able to do on the media side, we're doing on the commerce side as well, which is we use data more intelligently than a lot of the traditional retailers do. We're not protecting our sort of dying brick and mortar business, and so we're having to deal with sending people in store versus online, and we don't understand if it's cannibalizing. We just don't have to worry about a bunch of the bullshit. And so I think we've been able to build best-in-class commerce infrastructure and best-in-class media infrastructure, which admittedly is terrifying and exhausting, and I just woke up.